Welcome to the Off the Mic Wrestling Show here on YouTube. I'm Mike Mayer. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Monday Night Raw Go Home Show from St. Paul, Minnesota. I got some things to say about this crowd because what in the world was this crowd tonight? Like, what in the world was this crowd? Like, I'll get to it later on, but let's start off with like one of the big angles of this show. To me, was CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre kind of establishing the rules for this match at SummerSlam with Seth Rollins as the referee. So Seth has this unique ring attire. He's got the polka dotted shoes. Listen, like the content of this is what you expect. I think a lot of people are going to be discouraged. And the more that I get away from this, I'm like, okay, it was good, but given the high standard that you have for these three gentlemen and what they've been able to tell, they had a promo like 4 months ago, right before WrestleMania in Chicago, that was, I would say, miles better than this. This was fine. So Seth calls out both these guys and calls them both morons. Punk is out next. Drew is the last person out. As Drew is coming to the ring, this was a big point for me early on in the show. Michael Cole brings up, without saying, the Jack Perry photo. If you have to really listen into commentary on this, but he pointed it out, and I thought that was a big deal. Okay, that didn't happen by accident, and I think the fact that they're even referencing this is a big deal. So Seth first establishes, hey, nobody can touch anyone. You guys can't touch each other. You can't touch me. Otherwise, the match is off. Punk then leaves the ring, and Drew calls him a coward. Punk says, I'm worried about what I will do to you. Seth, like, really does a lot of stuff to get Punk to come back into the ring because of this. Basically says, I didn't have to be the ref. I volunteered because every other ref has been scared to work with you two because of all the violence and all the craziness that you two have caused in the last, 6 months that this feud has been going on. Tells Punk to get back into the ring if he wants the fight. And so Punk gets back in the ring. Drew basically reminds Seth, yeah, we got a professional relationship, and even though we don't like each other, Punk is the real enemy. This has been Drew's point the whole time. Seth says, if anyone hates Punk more than you, it's me. But if anyone hates, but then he goes over to Punk, if anyone hates you, like vice versa. So he basically points out, yeah, listen, like nobody hates me more than against either one of these guys. So like it's really establishing this whole narrative that, like I guess you could say Seth can be impartial in this match because he just doesn't like either guy. So that's what creates this really interesting dynamic as the special referee, is like you got a guy who really has motivations to be in this match for a lot of different reasons because he's been interwoven in this long storyline with Drew over the world title, and obviously the CM Punk thing, which was a match that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. So like I said, I like this where they're going, and so then it gets to this point where I think I've lost a little bit of people. The only rule and regulation is you will listen to everything that I have to say. I'm the law. DQs are referee's discretion. If either of you get out of line, I will put your head in the dirt. So basically, this isn't going to be your mother's or your father's typical referee. And I have a finish in my mind that's going to kind of, knowing the way Triple H likes to call back and things, like I could see a finish where, if you guys remember, I think it was 97, where Shawn Michaels was the referee for the Undertaker Bret Hart match. And Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels pretty much did not like each other. And Bret Hart was getting into it with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels wheels a chair and hits Undertaker in the head and reluctantly counts the 3 for this match that they had. And it established, and you guys know how the whole story went. It went down the road to Survivor Series in 1997, the famed Montreal Screwjob. So, like I said, there's a lot of ways they can go. I really haven't narrowed down how I think this will go, but there's a couple things. But like I said, let's get through this segment here. Punk, really, his big point was he doesn't want Seth's help at all. Like he said, yeah, if you screw me over, I'll deal with you later on, but don't help me at all. Drew got in some good lines here. He said, the bell is your enemy, Punk. I won't stop assaulting you until your heart stops beating. He says he's going to get paid for doing something that he wants to do for free. Um, Punk then goes, for 10 years I was away from this company and they chanted my name. They sing Seth's song and chant my name, but you're the third wheel. How does that feel? Um, Punk then brings up punk derangement syndrome, PDS. So the one positive about PDS is punk derangement syndrome, which you two definitely suffer from. So like, it's just like really hammering home that these guys don't like each other. Um, Punk also says, I hope you enjoyed the last 6 months because hurting CM Punk was the best thing that happened to your career, but it's also the worst thing because you picked a fight with CM Punk. Punk, I'm not your worst enemy. You are not as tall as you, not as fast as you, but I've got heart. Um, and then he asks, what do you have? And Drew shows the bracelet and he dares Punk to do something to break up this match. Kind of an odd ending, but I get why they did it because it was personal and this was really a tie-in. It's going to be interesting to see the way this match goes at SummerSlam. A lot of things could happen. I'll have a SummerSlam preview show at the back half of the week here on the channel to give you guys what I think is going to happen. Okay, so moving down this show really quickly, the Judgment Day. This was the theme of the show. Judgment Day, as always, has been a heavily featured thing. So the clubhouse for the Judgment Day is ransacked. They say it's Liv. Rhea says she stepped too far. Carlito's running around complaining about a PlayStation, which is funny. Carlito, a grown man in his 40s, is complaining about a PlayStation. So Rhea then looks around and basically says, why is he still here, to all the rest of the members of the Judgment Day. Back from break, Damian wasn't a part of the initial segment, comes in, says he should be out there with Finn, but Finn says he'll do it alone. And then the guys are talking about, yeah, we got to take care of this Sammy and Jay problem. And Damian's like, yeah, you guys are going backwards. We're not, they're past us. And so I guess Dom volunteers Carlito to face Sammy. So Carlito goes to talk to Pierce. First really big moment of this night, Alpha Academy versus the Creeds. The Creeds looked really good in this match. Otis gets a hot tag, does the Caterpillar, but Gable gets involved in this match a couple times. Otis was on the top rope. And the Creeds using their incredible strength get a double back suplex and get the win here. And then really where this got interesting was where there was a post-match beatdown. Chad Gable puts the ankle lock on Otis. Maxine Dupree gets involved, slabs Gable. And then the Creeds and Gable stalk her, but the lights go out. It's the Wyatts. And it's just Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Eric Roman. They actually pull off their masks to reveal who they are. Dexter Lumis, by the way, looks incredibly cool with the dreads. It's kind of a like neat little callback to Bray Wyatt. I thought that was really awesome. So they reveal themselves. Nikki Cross out the back door does a high cross body on Gable, which is a great look. Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis do this neat little powerbomb senton where Gacy pop-up powerbombs Dexter Lumis onto I can't remember who it was, but I think it was one of the Creeds. So that looked cool. Rowan then hits a running cross body to get rid of everybody. Gable goes up the ramp. He's confronted by Alco Howdy. There's a bunch of holy shits and you effed up chants in the building. And probably the hottest the crowd was. And this was a bad crowd. I'll get to that later on because this was a bad crowd. But that's the segment. And you know what? It was nice to see the Wyatt Six get physical, because everybody's been wondering how this was going to go. We've been spending a lot of time since I think it was post Clash at the Castle that we've been doing this. So it's been about a month of these segments and these video packages, and finally to see them get physical. Later on, there is a match established for next week, a 6-man tag, Creeds and Chad Gable versus Rowan, Gacy, and Dexter Lumis. So that'll be really interesting to see how they pivot and they go forward with these guys in the match. Another Judgment Day promo. Carlito basically tells Dom, "Hey, you're in the match with Sammy." Dom says, "Hey, you go take care of Jay." Rhea says, "Hey, you'll do it alone." I think somewhere along the line, Carlito talked about needing baby oil, which was weird, but Carlito's actually been low key, honestly, in this new reiteration of the Judgment Day has actually been kind of entertaining. Then we get a low key kind of banger between Big E special, Big Meaty Men Slap and me, Sheamus and Bronson Reed. Um, man, there was some shit that went on in this match. So towards the end of this, like, so Bronson Reed goes up to the top rope. I can't remember what it was for. It might have been for the tsunami. Sheamus meets him there, gets the white noise. Like, Sheamus has had back issues. He's had stenosis. His career is almost ended. And Bronson Reed's like 330, 350 pounds. Does the white noise for the second rope for a 2 count. Sheamus then gets 15 beats of the Badrin in. There was a little bit of a funky finish here that maybe wasn't executed all the way. I was okay with it. I don't know if Pete Dunne missed his cue, or if like there was supposed, I think Bronson Reed was supposed to have his foot caught in the ropes, and the referee was supposed to like pull it out. It wasn't very clean. It was a little funky looking, but Pete Dunne comes in as the referee's distraction, uses a shillelagh. Call back to Fit Finley, man. Get the shillelagh back in as a weapon over in this place. Like, that's awesome. So Bronson then goes up to the top rope. He hits the tsunami for the win. Bronson Reed gets the win. I like what they're doing with Pete Dunne, man. Make Pete Dunne this devious little bastard that, like, the bruiserweight, what he was when he really started getting overboard before he became a babyface. Like, if you guys are watching like early United Kingdom tournament, Pete Dunne was a pretty despicable human being. Like, he was attacking people and doing things like during ceremonies and stuff. He was against the rules. Like, I think Tyler Bate not being there and them bridging away from the New Catch Republic, I think might have been a blessing in disguise, because now you got Pete Dunne in something kind of interesting. And you know what? I just love Sheamus, man. This guy's been doing it for 15 years, and considering his career probably could have ended at least twice already, like, to see him put it on this level of a banger, and I know it's his thing, he just does banger after banger after banger. This was freaking fantastic. This was just a slugfest where these guys are just beating the shit out of each other for a good, like, 10 or so minutes. Like, this was awesome. I love this. One thing I really loved about the show, and maybe it's not for everybody, but these go-home shows and what they've really hammered home is, okay, let's protect the talent as much as we can, but let's, let's kind of hammer home these points of why these matches are happening on the show on Saturday. So we get a Damian Priest hype package, like a cinematically thrown thing. So Priest says a lot of interesting stuff here. Gunther has no understanding about my past. Said he had a bunch of, here he goes. And then calls him a European product of ingenuity, which means, quote, you are an asshole. Okay, that was a burn. Priest says WWE is a place for me to forget about my past. I'm going to rob you of the idea that you could take this title away from me. I'm willing to die for everything I have, or you. And then he does this whole general salute, which was great. The ring general callback. It had an edge. It had some, like, it's really what I've loved about what WWE has done. And I said this on last week's show. I really have loved how WWE has handled the booking of this feud between Damian Priest and Gunther. For the first time, really in his title reign, Damian Priest does not feel like an afterthought. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't, but the unfortunate thing about most of this title reign is it has been interwoven with the Drew McIntyre and CM Punk feud. And then Seth Rollins has been there as well. And all due respect to Damian Priest, those guys are all above him. Gunther is, I mean, you could say in terms of a class is above him, but Gunther also hasn't won a world championship yet. Damian Priest is the world champion here. And they've made him feel powerful, like he's been offended. He stood up for himself. He's kicked ass. This is the Damian Priest that we wanted to see. And I'll talk about this later about how I think this match is going to go, because they really hammered some stuff home that make me think. I've always thought that Damian Priest was going to lose the title to Gunther, but I think the way that they can execute this could do a lot of things for a lot of different people. Gunther can win. Damian Priest can go off and do his own thing with this new character, and the fans will definitely get behind him if they haven't already. So, but yeah, like I said, they did a really good job with this feud. I can't wait to see the match. Then we get a Braun Breaker promo. He basically says, hey, I'm not here to talk down Sami Zayn. I don't even dislike him. I thought I was fighting a stand-up comic, and that's on me for making a rookie mistake at Money in the Bank for taking you lightly. He says, It made me realize that Sammy's going to lose at SummerSlam. He's preparing for a life after WWE. He said, "While you've been telling jokes, I've been training. Joke will be on you at SummerSlam." I love that they actually tied in some of this to really kind of tell the story of why I thought for the longest time, and I said this after Money in the Bank, Braun Breaker's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Everybody says, "Oh, every guy has to win, 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 and we just have to have him beat everybody." No, you don't. What you It's all about, projecting and telling a story to make us interested in these characters. And Braun Breaker, I could see a number of Braun Breaker's going to win on Saturday. I just don't know how it's going to happen. It's probably going to be very impactful. I don't envision a squash because I mean, it could go that way. That's one of the ways you can go. But I like the fact that they are making Braun just like this, impactful killer, and who's just on the warpath, and he will do anything and everything to win the Intercontinental Championship. So, yeah, this will be a good little match. Like, they had a good little match at Money in the Bank, but on a big stage like SummerSlam, like I feel pretty confident that Braun's going to win this match. So then we get Jey Uso and Carlito. Carlito did fine in this match. I mean, towards the end of this match, Jey Uso goes for a crossbody. He misses. Carlito hits a pretty good looking spine buster for 2. The finish of this match is something I really liked. So Carlito gets the apple. We haven't seen the apple in a long time. It's like you spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Takes a big old bite out of it. Jey Uso gets a roll up for 2 while Carlito still has the apple in his mouth. So Jay hits the ropes and he hits a big old spear on Carlito. Carlito spits the whole apple out. He gets pinned, and that's the finish of the match. It's nice to see a little projectile of the apple, but it doesn't go into anybody's face. It's just Carlito. Yeah, I tried doing it. Boom. Even though he's been kind of projected as kind of like, comic relief, I think he's doing a really good job in his role, and this is better than anything they had him doing with the LWO. So I really like this. Jey Uso gets a win. Cool for him. Then we get a Zelina Vega interview. I love that they're giving her a ton of time. She's great. I think she called the group with Sonya, Zoe, and Shayna, the Team Forehead. Zelina's a low-key one of the better talkers in the business. She talks about how her arm's feeling good. She was fortunate to get the win last week after Lyra Valkyria, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance helped me out. What was done to me created me and reminded me of who the hell I am. And then she gets cornered by Sonya, Zoe, and Shayna. They isolated her arm on a door where she was playing, and Shayna kicks it, and so Zelina's selling the arm, and she's with Lyra, Kaden, and Katana in the trainer's room after the commercial. Then we get a Miz promo, and this was a big little deal. Miz is going to be hosting SummerSlam, which is really, really cool in his hometown of Cleveland. A little bit of history. This isn't the first time he's hosted SummerSlam. I was at that SummerSlam in Los Angeles 11 years ago, which is one of the best SummerSlams I've ever seen. Ironically, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar was on that show. Daniel Bryan versus John Cena was on that show with Triple H as the referee. If you remember, that was the Randy Orton cash-in, heel turn, The Authority begins. But Miz was the host of that show. So, I mean, neat to see him get I always thought that this was the way it was going to go. Miz had been hyping up Cleveland and SummerSlam. I know a lot of people are kind of irritated that Johnny Gargano isn't going to be on this show, but he's going to be on the SmackDown before. And then R-Truth comes in and basically start talking about In Your House, the In Your House. Wait, what are you talking about In Your House? It's like, no, I'm hosting SummerSlam. And then R-Truth goes like, oh, you need some hors d'oeuvres? And so R-Truth and Kathy Kelly play it up with a little party, and it was entertaining. So you better believe that R-Truth, I think, is going to be in some capacity involved at SummerSlam as well for a little bit of comic relief in between in some of these things to make the show. And Miz hosted WrestleMania a couple years ago at Mania 39. So he's good at this hosting thing. This is kind of who Miz is at this stage in his career. Yes, he was a tag team champion, but this is who he is. And look, I've always liked Miz more so than a lot of people in the wrestling space. I don't understand the hate that he gets, but this will be fine. I actually like that. I love that they hyped up the Japanese tour that was really good. So they hyped that up. then we get Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross. Listen, I understand what they're trying to do here. I mean, the promo before was actually, I think, better than the actual match. So Karrion Kross, I guess Kofi Kingston returned on the tour, but then aggravated an injury. So Karrion then speculates, hey, he's skipping town because the world doesn't revolve around him, and he doesn't want to be in this hellhole of Minnesota, cheap heat. This wasn't a great crowd, so good on Karrion for trying to wake them up. And then Karrion says, yeah, I still want you to join the Final Testament and tell the kids that the power of positivity was all a big lie. Also, tell Kofi that he should have retired after losing the WWE title in 6 seconds. Boom. Good line. And that starts the match. Xavier gets some punches in. But then this was just a match. This was kind of just there. I'm kind of over this feud. It's like, okay, they've been trying to make Karrion Kross a thing. Or I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Mean Girls. My sister's over here in the background trying to make fetch happen. That's kind of what Karrion Kross is. He's kind of just fetch, and it just hasn't worked. Final Testament, whatever. It's just like, and you have Scarlett there. It's not working. And they're trying to get these guys over. Really, the finish of this match is Woods counters out of a final prayer, and takes out Akam and Rezar. Woods then goes for the limit breaker, but misses, and Kross gets the final prayer for the win. This was there. Fine, but it's like nobody really cares. So I like Woods, and like I said, Kross is fine, but the crowd just doesn't give a shit about him, and it sucks. But it's just not. It hasn't worked. It didn't work the first time when Vince botched him, and it's very clear that Triple H is just trying his best to repair whatever was taken away from him. It just hasn't worked since he brought him back a couple years ago, and I think we just need to move on from this. This was shown on social media, but I thought this was really cool, and that they brought this up on television. Jesse Ventura was backstage meeting with Triple H. If you know anything, Jesse Ventura, obviously big-time politician, I think former governor of Minnesota, him and Vince McMahon, a lot of heat between them. So you really know that this is Triple H's WWE when Jesse Ventura is showing up backstage and being shown on television. That hasn't happened in 15 years. Jesse Ventura, one of the greatest commentators of all time. So big deal seeing him backstage. Then we start up hyping up for Sami Zayn versus Dom Mysterio. Sami sort of gets his response. It's funny that Braun thinks that I'm going to lose because of a comedy show, because I actually beat him in Toronto at Money in the Bank after a comedy show. Mentions Braun, and you know how I know this? Braun's just getting cheap shots on me. And he said, this time's going to be different because it's not about teaching lessons, it's just about beating his ass. And then we get the trademark WWE, I'll follow you to the ring after a promo shot. So that's great. So then we go to break to get ready for the match. We come back. It's a Liv Morgan, similar to the similar to some of the other hype. There was a Rhea Ripley package later in this show. Like I said, Damian Priest and also Gunther gets something similar as well. So basically Liv's burning stuff in a garbage can and says, I would have done anything for you, Dom. You're not a man. You're just Rhea's little bitch. And all I can do is make your and Rhea's life a living hell moving forward. She says she'll complete the Liv Morgan revenge tour at SummerSlam and leave you with whatever the hell is left of your precious little mommy. And I can't wait to hear those 3 little words, Women's World Champion. We're channeling back to Liv Morgan back in 2022 in the midst and sort of the tail end of that Ronda Rousey, whatever the debacle, and what really kind of damaged Liv Morgan a lot. Like, she had that really nice win at Money in the Bank the same day cash in, but then the title reign that followed was just a disaster. It was kind of completely diminished by the fact that Liv tapped out while Ronda was being pinned, and Liv got away with it as a face, and the crowd just didn't buy into her. But then they kind of turned her into this insane, crazy person. And I try to use that term loosely because I don't want to upset any women, but it's just Liv plays this character really well, where she's kind of dead set in her ways of getting revenge, and she is just so insane about that she wants to do whatever she can to get what she wants. So we'll see how this plays out at SummerSlam. Like I said, I'll kind of give you guys a little hint of where my head is leaning. And also we'll have the prediction show a little bit later in the week here on the channel. Then we get Sami Zayn versus Dom Mysterio. really, like I said, good little match here. What you expect. Dom goes up top for the frog splash, but Sammy gets an exploder in the turnbuckle. But then you get some Judgment Day interference. Carlito and JD are out. Distract Sammy. It leads to a roll up by Dom for two. Carlito and JD get involved again. Dom goes for the 619, but gets drop kicked, leading to the Blue Thunder Bomb. But that gets broken up by the Judgment Day. Disqualification finish. I'm normally not good with these type of things, but a lot of stuff happened here that really elevated and escalated a lot of stories that could be told down the line here. Jey Uso comes out for the save, defending his other Uso. He takes out all three Judgment Day members. So then Sammy is left alone in the ring. Braun Breaker attacks him from behind. He goes for the spear, but runs into a boot from Sammy. Sammy gets the exploder in the corner, but Breaker avoids the haluva kick. Braun's like trying to get away. Sammy lets his guard down for a little bit, and Breaker tries to sneak attack again, but Sammy kicks him over the ropes and out of the ring again. And Sami Zayn stands tall going into SummerSlam. I said it before. I think Braun Breaker's going to win this match. Otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Sammy doesn't need the championship. He's already going into stuff with Jey Uso potentially as a tag team. Sammy's at the end of his rope here. I think there's going to be a title. There's going to be a lot of title changes potentially at SummerSlam. Again, tune into that prediction show. I'm hoping to do it. I'm probably going to do it Thursday because Friday's SmackDown. So probably not going to do it on the actual SmackDown show since there's a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, this was fine. Then we get a Wyatt video. It's Dexter Lumis. Really, the main thing to take away here I think I heard audibly in there, what should they do when the buzzers start circling? And then you just hear run. And it's like a callback to the old Bray Wyatt family stuff. So like I said, I love this. Chad Gable trying to be a know-it-all. Meets with Pierce. Hey, I know the identities of people. And Pierce is like, yeah, I know. We all saw it. And so he proposes what I said earlier. It's going to be Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Eric Rowan versus Gable and the Creeds next week. Hell yeah. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see how this Wyatt 6 group works. I'm really intrigued to see it. So, yeah, that's awesome. Then we get a Rhea Ripley promo. A lot of promos on the show, but like I said, they really did their job. Rhea says Liv wanted to so badly be the victim in her revenge tour, but it's fantasy. Reality is your revenge tour is coming to an end at SummerSlam. No more running door and hiding from me. Not only have you taken away 3 months of my career, but you took my title and you tried to manipulate my family. You've so badly wanted me to be the demon, but I will get my revenge. This is what it needed to be. Rhea's terrific. And like I said, I can't wait to see this match. Then we get a 6-woman, Lyra, Valkyria, Katana, Chance, Kaden Carter versus Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. I never knew that I needed to see the inner party girl of Lyra Valkyria. This, like, like she plays up this bird type thing, like with her cool music, and then she's out there just dancing and partying with the party girls. I thought this was great. Really, what this is about, like, I mean, this was a quick little match. So Zoe and Shayna, it's near the back half of this match, go for their tandem finish, but Kaden is able to Hurricane Rana out of this. There's a triple team. Lyra gets a gut wrench power bomb, but that gets broken up at a 2 count. The party girls go for the after party, which is their finish. Gets countered. Katana Chance gets a roll up for 2, but then Zoe gets a wicked looking knee in the Z360 for the win. So again, I like what they're doing with this heel faction with Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, like the MMA-esque group with the MMA background. After the match, Damage Control's back, which is awesome. I don't know if they're babyface or not, but that's really cool. And so they take everyone out of the ring. Io then hits the moonsault out to the outside. God bless Io Sky. She is so freaking great. It'll be nice to see this group potentially as a babyface group. We haven't really seen that yet. Everybody loves Dakota Kai. Everybody loves Kairi Sane. Everybody loves Io Sky. So why not maybe try these women as a babyface team? So I'm all for that. Gunther promo. He said, yeah, I offered you an easy way out, and you acted like a weak individual, exposed who you were. As far as tonight goes, I used to look up to Finn Balor as one of the best in the world. And he goes to Finn, you and I both know that you were destined for bigger and better things, and then you just became like the Judgment Day. I want to see if the old Finn Balor is still left in you. I will never forgive Priest for covering up his pathetic existence. This was perfect. This is what it needed to be. It hyped up. It hyped up the match at the pay-per-view. It hyped up all the stuff with the Judgment Day. Played up a lot of things in there with him being a part of the family, and also just reminding us Finn Balor's a damn good wrestler. And like, yeah, he's a world tag team champion and he's a former world champion. He was in the world title picture this time last year, but Finn Balor's still damn good. So then we get a Damage Control promo. They talk about basically you get Io and Kyrie talking to Japanese. Dakota says, now that Damage Control is back, it's time for us to establish things around here. And Dakota challenges Sonya to a match next week that is made official. Hell yeah. That'll be great. Great to see Dakota Kai get some singles work. She's terrific. And Sonya, like I've been saying, I love that they've been making Sonya Deville matter since she came back from the knee injury. She's picked up a couple wins. I don't know how this will go next week, but Sonya Deville actually means something in this women's division, and that's great. That's awesome. Then we get one more Judgment Day promo before the main event. Finn basically says to the whole group, "Hey, let's wait until after SummerSlam. Hold on. Let's wait until after SummerSlam. We all got into this mess together, but we'll get out of it together." Rhea offers help. So does Damian. Finn says they've got their own things at SummerSlam. And wait, do you guys think that I can't do this? Damian says, "I know you'll get it done," but he wonders if Gunther's going to try something stupid. And then we get the main event: Gunther versus Finn. This was hard hitting. Finn ducks an early chop, and then there's some nasty chops. You guys should see Finn's chest. It was reminiscent of what happened to Sheamus. Like, there were welts all over the place, man. Like the strikes in this match hurt me. So then Gunther gets a chop in on Finn, hits a backdrop suplex for 2. We get a Boston Crab. Finn is able to break that up. Gunther puts Finn up on the top rope, chops him in the back. Tries to go for a leg capture suplex, but Finn is able to shift his body into a cross body. This was really a well-worked match. Finn gets chopped and gets put in a sleeper. This was really a theme of this match, was Gunther really trying to put Finn to sleep, which really kind of protects Finn from like not taking a pin or not tapping out. So Gunther then goes for a power bomb, but Finn is able to counter with a nice-looking DDT. He runs into a clothesline. Gunther gets 2. Then another big chop exchange later in this match. Gunther tries another power bomb, but Finn counters out of it, gets a sling blade, goes for his corner drop kick. Gunther counters into a sleeper, but Finn is able to roll through and get back-to-back stomps to the chest, then a stomp to the back. Finn gets his drop kick in the corner. Coup de grace, as I call it, coup de grace, but he misses. Gunther's able to lock in another sleeper. Gunther then hits another power bomb. He gets out of it, and then hits another power bomb before locking in another sleeper. And then Finn just goes out, passes out. The match is called. Gunther wins the match. Gunther lets go of the sleeper, but then he puts in a rear naked choke in. Priest comes out for the save. Gunther is thrown over the announce table. They brawl past the Prime Station. I thought that was Kevin Owens' job to just ruin the Prime Station. Pat McAfee is like running all over the place trying to get the hell out of the way because he didn't know what the hell was going to happen. And the show goes off the air. The one thing I will say, and I warned you guys before this crowd in St. Paul, Minnesota was dog shit. You could hear audible silence in this building because WWE has mics on their audience. There was nothing going on at this. You've got 2 big freaking dudes beating the shit out of each other, and nothing's happening with this crowd. You can hear a fucking pin drop. I'm getting so infuriated that I'm dropping F-bombs on this show now. But it's YouTube, you know what? Who cares? But yeah, that really bothered me. And I was, like I said, this was a good show with a really lackluster crowd that I'm not even the slightest bit. I can't say any really good things about this crowd. It was, I mean, really I'm embarrassed by it. I'll actually no, I just saw this come across my timeline here. Jesse Ventura about an hour ago tweeted, "Yes, it's true. The body is back home. Thank you, Triple H and the whole WWE family. CM Punk looks like hell froze over again." Again, like I said, you know it's Triple H's WWE when that type of stuff is going on. Really cool to see Jesse Ventura backstage. But yeah, all in all, I'm really excited for SummerSlam. I'm really excited to see where a lot of these storylines progress and move forward. And yeah, I do need to address this. What in the hell is going on in AEW with their fan base? Because I dare to be critical of AEW. Today it was announced Hangman Adam Page is going to face Darby Allin on Wednesday. Why? Why? Two of your biggest stars in the company, and you're just going to throw them on a random Dynamite. Everybody saying, well, they were in the same blood and guts match. I may be wrong, and maybe you can call me a hater, but I watched that whole match. Did Hangman give a shred of a shit about anybody in that match not named Swerve Strickland? That's it. And then he was out during a commercial break. So you're going to have Darby Allin in a match? Like, I'm curious to see what Bryan Danielson has to say, because there's a report out from Fightful that Bryan Danielson's just not going to work as much, and he's effectively semi-retired already. And you can and there was a part of this reporting that really irritated me, where it said they've always wanted to. This has always been the direction that he was going to get the title shot at Wembley, and you can tell with what has been told on television and how Bryan Danielson has been presented since winning that championship, that there is so much disconnection between stories. And this is my problem with Tony Khan. He is not willing or not able to adapt or, be willing to change with what he wants to do. And he wants Bryan Danielson to go out on top. That's fine. But at some point, like you saw what happened with WWE in the build to WrestleMania. There's documentaries made about it. Someone may say it's like a PR thing, but look what happened. They shoehorned The Rock into a feud that he didn't belong in, and because of a social media outrage, they changed their mind. Tony Khan, you could see the reactions from the fans, albeit few of them. I'll take cheap shots here, but you know what? Some of you AEW stands get your feelings hurt. Everybody wants to see Hangman and Swerve for the world title. And Tony Khan's not going to change it. I hope that maybe this promo was maybe some sort of direction going that way. But then you compound it by throwing Hangman versus Darby Allin with no storyline whatsoever, no build. You just announce it on Twitter and just say, hey, let's just watch it. Those are two of your biggest stars. Two of your biggest stars. And you're just throwing away the match on free television. I pray that AEW figures this out. It'll probably be a banger. It'll be fine. But you can't keep throwing shit at the wall and just hoping that you hit a bullseye and you hope it sticks. You got to pivot and you've got to adapt to stories that you are telling. And this Danielson and Swerve thing, they're two of the best wrestlers in the world. They're two best wrestlers in this company. But there is no reason that you have given me in the last 2 weeks to give any shred of a shit about this match. And that's what bothers me. And then I dare to say something about it, and people tell me I'm stupid and that I don't watch and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, guys, Darby Allin, in the span of 2 days, has a TNT title shot that they've got to build to with him and Jack Perry. And then they've got him facing off whoever wins the world title match at Wembley, which some people are trying to tell me, oh, he was aligned with Swerve. I was like, no, he wasn't. Darby wasn't aligned with Swerve. Did you watch the promo before the match? Which, by the way, they didn't play up with at all. Darby literally said the words, "You're not my leader," to Swerve Strickland. So again, why are they having this match? Why? And then there's some other stuff that they threw together, the conglomeration against like the Beast Mortos and Roderick Strong and Roosh, and I'm like, okay. It's like Tony Khan has even said this, and I'm glad he's starting to admit the quiet thing out loud, but he books for the sickos. That's exactly what this company is. They book for the sickos. They're going to get 700,000. This is never going to be a 1 million viewer company. They don't really rely too much on storytelling. And again, you're just throwing shit and throwing these matches out there, again, with people I like, but again, at some level, like, I mean, if you're going to go talk about lower card matches, okay, yeah, you don't really necessarily need the level of the story. But again, if you're AEW and have your flagging ratings and you're trying to get a new TV contract, you got to kind of get people engaged. And that's not going to get people engaged. When you're talking about Darby Allin and Hangman Adam Page, two of the OGs of this company who have never faced one-on-one, why are you putting this match together for the sake of putting this match together? That's my point. So we'll see where that goes. I'll have a Dynamite review on Wednesday. We'll see if it's a good enough show. We'll see how the ratings turn out for it later in the week. We'll have a SummerSlam preview and recap show this week. Also, SmackDown. Big week in pro wrestling, people. Follow the show, OT Mike Wrestling, here on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow the show on Twitter at the same OT Mike Wrestling. Follow me at Off the Mic 28. I will talk to you guys on the other side later in the week. Bye-bye.